right may not see eye to eye on many issues, but they do have one very important thing in common. They both live in anticipation of an impending genocide of their own kind. We all see this every day. The trans genocide, the Christian genocide, the anti-vax genocide, even the Western genocide. But while they live in fear of the possibility of being systematically murdered by the other side, the true enemy is facilitating a eugenics program right under their noses.
Please select mode of death, quick and painless, or slow and horrible.
Bring it on, baby!
I'm, of course, talking about medical assistance in dying, or as we call it here in Canada, the MAID program. A euthanasia law passed in 2016 that was originally for the terminally ill has progressively become more lax, and since 2021 has been open to just about anyone.
When MAID became legal 7 years ago, only patients with a terminal illness were eligible. In 2019, a Quebec judge ruled this restriction was unconstitutional, so Parliament amended the bill.
In my view, mental illness is no different than any other medical illness. I believe that doctors are quite capable of assessing people with psychiatric illness and coming to the same conclusions that they have for people who have, cancer or lung disease or neurological disorders.
But families of patients worry there are not enough protections.
We are so angry and insulted at how they just all turn their heads.
Tricia Nichols told a parliamentary committee that her brother Alan was suicidal when he checked into the Chilliwack Hospital July 16, 2019. 10 days later, he died with medical assistance.
Wait. What did she say? Let's listen to that one more time.
Tricia Nichols told a parliamentary committee that her brother Alan was suicidal when he checked into the Chilliwack Hospital July 16, 2019. 10 days later, he died with medical assistance.
How can our government even be looking at expanding MAID laws? There are currently no laws protecting the vulnerable or their families from MAID.
I mean, I get that she's upset, but it was an honest mistake. It's not like the system was designed to eliminate the suicidal and depressed.
All of the assessors and providers for MAID are purposely trained to eliminate people that are suicidal.
Unsurprisingly, as the restrictions on euthanasia go down, the number of dead Canadians continues to go up. In 2016, when the MAID law was passed, the number of Canadians intentionally killed by doctors was 1,018. In 2021, that number jumped to a whopping 10,064. I guess doctors out here in Canada just got tired of being the third leading cause of death and wanted to pump those numbers up. I mean, to truly put this in perspective, I want you to think about this. In 2021, 14,000 Canadians were supposedly killed by the COVID-19 virus. So you were locked in your house, booted from your job, and scolded for potentially killing grandma, while your government and your local healthcare provider were literally killing grandma. I mean, we know they killed all those COVID grandmas too, but it's a hilarious statistic for the sake of optics. And the ghouls are so proud of themselves, they can hardly contain their excitement. Here's Dr. Ellen Wiebe, a Vancouver abortionist and suicide doctor who's performed upwards of 400 assisted deaths, giddily recounting a story about the death of one of her patients.
One of my patients who booked her death, I came to see her. She was in the hospital, so I came to see her about 5 days before her booked death. And I said, just, wanting to know if you're still feeling the same as you was when we talked last. And she said, no, I've changed my mind. I was scared. I'm not scared anymore. I'm fine. And she actually died on the day she had booked her death.
Well, if that doesn't disturb you, Canadian attitudes on the matter might do the trick. According to a poll conducted by Research Company, 36% of Canadians strongly support euthanasia, 37% moderately support it, and just 7% strongly oppose it. Welcome to Canada, where everyone knows your name and they're always glad to kill you.
Hey, neighbor.
Oh yeah, no, hey. Nice day, eh? Oh yeah, she's a beauty. Nice day to get hit by a car, eh? For sure, bud. I'm gearing up to play shinny with the boys. Take some clappers off the domer. No Bucky. Oh yeah, bud. I'm about to get absolutely hosed on a 2-4 Molson. Take the old sled for a rip. Give her into a Mounties moose knuckle. Take both of us out. Jesus, Murphy, fill your boots, bud. Get her done. I've talked about Made in Canada many times before, but this time it seems to be gaining so much traction that the major alternative media players are finally picking up the story. Matt Walsh tweeted about it recently, and he had this to say. There are quote-unquote conservatives actually defending Canada's euthanasia program. You people are hopeless. You will never learn. You're useless. 5 years from now, when euthanasia is the hot new TikTok trend for teens, you'll finally speak out. But it'll be too late. You never learn. If I have to explain to you why it's bad for doctors to put down human beings like dogs, then there's no point. We aren't on the same side. You're a patsy for the left. You're too stupid to bother with. I'm tired of always having to wait for the dumbest conservatives to catch on. I couldn't agree with Matt Walsh more, but many of his brain-dead followers beg to differ. Lex Blazer here believes euthanasia is morally wrong, but only when it's for pets. Very lame take, Matt. At least, unlike dogs, humans can consent, which isn't just critical, but also a big argument both in favor of euthanasia, plus to cease doing it to dogs. No informed consent, LOL. Matthew Page says, I am a conservative. I want as conservative of a government as possible, and I am okay with this. I don't think suicide should be a crime. I don't believe it is a good option, but I believe in all liberties, even those I won't use. It harms no one but the one who is asking for it. Wow! Murder harms no one but the murder victim. Thanks, genius. Better let my local funeral director know that death has no effect on the living. And a user by the name of Joe G says, I am conservative and I see nothing wrong with this. If you are terminally ill, on your deathbed, dependent, and old with your best days behind you, you should be able to clock out if you wish. Joe here draws the line at a doctor's inherent God-given right to murder their patients. These are the same people who will be out on Parliament Hill in 5 years holding signs that read, "The poor are not disposable," when the government replaces food banks with execution centers. Because if we can execute the physically ill, the mentally ill, and the emotionally ill, what's stopping us from executing the economically ill? Nothing is stopping us. And in the short time that euthanasia laws have been expanded here in Canada, that's exactly where the eugenics program has led.
Imagine choosing death over homelessness. That's what one St. Catharines man is contemplating. Tonight on City News, we continue to delve into medically assisted dying and how some believe it is their only option to living in poverty.
Are you afraid to die?
Who isn't? Yeah,
Amir Farsood has applied for medically assisted dying, known as MAID. He lives in constant agony due to a back injury, but has started the process for end of life because his rooming house is up for sale and he can't find anywhere else to live that he can afford. He barely survives on Ontario disability support payments, which are just over $1,200 a month. He doesn't want to die, but being homeless is not an option.
I know in my present health condition I wouldn't survive it anyway.
Farsood meets the criteria for MAID: physical suffering due to disability that cannot be relieved. His doctor, who knows Farsood's real reason for MAID is his fear of being homeless, signed off on the application in August.
I don't wish to be dead, even with the pain, even with the meds. I still want to be here.
This, of course, is all part of the plan to chip away at the sacredness of human life. Once upon a time, the thought of systematically murdering millions of unborn babies per year was the stuff of nightmares. Now it's just an average Wednesday night. From safe, legal, and rare to anywhere any time and for any reason. In 2015, a Planned Parenthood abortionist was caught on tape admitting that she performs abortions in a manner that's more beneficial to preserving the baby's organs than it is to the mother's health. Meaning she would potentially put the mother's life and health in danger to remove the baby in a manner that preserved their organs for harvesting.
The undercover team later asks about buying specific fetal parts. A warning. This excerpt is graphic and may be disturbing.
It makes a huge difference. I'd say a lot of people want liver. So then you're just kind of cognizant of where you put your breast first. You try to intentionally go above and below the thorax so that, we've been very good at getting parts on liver because we know that, so I'm not going to crush that part. I'm going to basically crush below, I'm going to crush above, and I'm going to see if I get it intact.
The legal question here is Planned Parenthood, provider of 40% of abortions in the U.S., selling fetal tissue? That's illegal.
It isn't hard to see this practice being extended to the rest of us. Will organ donors be pressured to end their lives early to speed up the process? What about the elderly parents of money-hungry children lying in wait for their inheritance? What about the parents of children with burdensome disabilities? What about when the government convinces their weak, impressionable citizens that consent is no longer the foundation for their weak sense of morality? And most importantly, what happens when the medical industry classifies more and more normal behavior as mental illness? Because I don't know about you, but I remember a time when Canadian truckers were deemed dangerous, disgusting, and even crazy for defending their God-given rights. Whatever dystopian, nightmarish situation you can think of, and even a few you couldn't even conjure up in your head, will come of this. Because when people commit acts of evil, they don't tell you it's evil. They paint it as compassion or as a favor, or even as a human right. So it's no surprise they claim assisted suicide is just that. Compassion for the elderly, for those suffering from pain. But sometimes they let their true intentions slip and they say the quiet part out loud. And what they're saying is that the Canadian euthanasia program is not about dying with dignity, it's about learning to live without it. Alright guys, that's it for me today. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out some other videos from my channel. I will see you all next week for the next weekly roundup. Bye!